Hi, I'm Reverend Tom Kearns. Welcome to 333 Magic 9, where the tarot cards and the stars work together to bring you insights of a cosmic nature for your life. Please take a moment to subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications so you'll know when new videos are put up. FYI, I am using a 0-degree equal house chart, so the small numbers in the center of the circle may not match, but the interpretations are correct. I am doing this to conserve paper due to the many forests that are being destroyed by fire. Now, let us take a closer look at your cards and stars. October is always a transitional month, and the first week of October starts under the light of the full moon. So we have an opposition between the sun and the moon and the card Luna. And Luna is the tarot card for the moon. Now, under the sense of the full moon, there's always a lot of emotion, and this card is often associated with difficulties or deception when dealing with other people. But it's also a card, and particularly with the fullness of the moon, when things are very emotional and very sensitive. So this card can also represent enhanced psychic abilities. So the question is going to become, will you be able to keep yourself clear and avoid misunderstandings under the full moon? You have to try to understand other people and their motives. It's important that you do not let your imagination run wild, because the full moon, again, is very emotional. There's a lot of imagination hanging around. So what would be better to do would be to use your imagination as a productive tool. And as you can see right here, the moon is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer, so that can help in healing. Now, it may be a little bit difficult because the full moon definitely represents that there is a challenge. And the challenge here is the sun in the second house of your chart in opposition to the moon in the 8th house of shared energy. So it's your resources and energy in opposition to other people's resources and energy. So you have a lot of special sensitivity, and your feelings may be walking around on your sleeve for everybody to see and feel. So you have to make sure you keep yourself in control. Now, you can't control other people, but you can understand that maybe they're oversensitive and perhaps a little bit wired. So be willing to make allowances for unusual types of reactions and the way people are acting. So give your support to other people, but be a little bit careful with your wallet, because this is your wallet down here. This is where your money is. Now, the next important change is Venus, and Venus is going into the sign of Virgo, which means she'll be entering into your first house. Now, Virgo is not necessarily the happiest place for the planet Venus, because Virgo tends to be a little bit critical. And Venus is the planet of love, and it's not very good to be critical about the people that you love. They have a hard time handling that. But when Venus is in your first house, it can give you a hypnotic smile and gentle inspiration that can really help your sense of self and your ability to influence others, especially with your gentleness and your caring. So with Venus in the first house, there is a green light for love and pleasure. So you need to express that side of yourself, your sensitivity and your sensuality. But since it's in Virgo, you need to have a little practical energy under it as well. So you might also do well if you get involved in some type of public relations or artistic expression. Venus would help in that way as well. The week of the 7th through the 16th is disrupted by what I call the clash between warriors. And there's also going to be the coming of the Mercury retrograde, which is going to be coming up this week. So there can be some confusion in the air, and thus I have put up the the Tower card over here. And the Tower card is a card that represents that there is some type of disruption or unforeseen change that is coming. And, under Mercury retrograde and some of the other aspects that are happening this week, that's not too surprising. Now, no one likes a surprise, especially if it destroys the status quo or what you've become accustomed to. So make sure you are careful in your reaction time. So don't go flying off the handle, and don't let your ego get out of control. Others may be looking for a fight, and there's plenty of energy here. You have some opposition, you have this big square, so there's plenty of energy for a fight. But remember, if you get in a fight with somebody, it might be a fight to the finish. So do be careful. The week ends as flighty Mercury down here in the third house opposes erratic Uranus up in the ninth house. Now, this is a disruptive and confusing energy, and this aspect will happen twice this month because Mercury is going to go retrograde. So that will happen on the 7th and the 19th. When Uranus is in the ninth house, he suggests that you need to use common sense when dealing with people you don't know. You have to realize that not everyone believes the same thing that you do, and so that can create some problems. And also, some people will make promises that they don't keep. Now, that might not be done on purpose, it's just the way things are. Stay aware and stay awake. The opposition to Mercury down in the third house may increase friction if you don't give everyone a fair hearing. So the key to this opposition is to negotiate differences, and that'll help create peace. Now, Mars is up here in the 8th house, and he will stimulate your psychic awareness and sensual energy. Woohoo! Mars is sensual anyway. Mars rules desire, so this makes it a little bit more intense. So your sensitivity will be humming, and your reaction time is very short. So keep that in mind. Don't fly off the handle. Take time to deepen your personal involvements and listen to any psychic impressions carefully. This is the house of the psychic. Now, this becomes very important because there's a square to Pluto down here in the 5th house of romance and creativity. And this is a very creative area, but it's also a very passionate area in the chart. So what you're going to have to do is dig down deeply and know how to express your true feelings. You need to take a more creative, romantic, and manner of expressing yourself that'll bring more satisfaction to your world. Now, madness is fear of rejection. A satisfying adventure may be the gift of this energy, so don't be afraid. You have things to conquer, and sometimes those fears are inside yourself. Just don't be too pushy. The Hangman is the next card we want to talk about because he suggests that we take a different perspective on our life. He's upside down. He's hanging upside down. But if you look at him, he's not very upset. He in fact, is almost in repose. He's at peace. So this probably can be used as a very good and valuable lesson because Mercury is going retrograde. So we're corresponding that card, looking at things in a different way, taking a different perspective. So what you need to do, and this will happen on the 13th of the month, what you have to do is keep a close eye on your every day-to-day activities. You have to see what might need to be changed, And if you're going too fast, you might have to slow down. And you'll have to have a little extra effort maybe to maintain your own sense of clarity of thought so that there's no confusion. Now, Mercury will be conjuncted by the Sun. So the Sun is going to move down here, and he's going to be in the same place as Mercury on the 25th. Now, this adds extra energy. So, again, since Mercury is retrograde, there could be some confusion. And you have to make sure you're not being too stubborn at this time. So, make sure you check the important details of life, like your bank balance and your travel plans and things like that, so you won't have any problems. The card of the week, and this is the week of October 17th through 24th, is the Lovers. And I hate to say it, but I love this card. Now, of course, this card can suggest a choice, and it can represent that you might want to follow a very productive, wonderful, romantic, and just happy, pleasurable path. But there's also the possibility of flirting with temptation. So you have to be a little bit careful. There may be important choices to be made which must be guided by your higher aspirations and inspiration. You must remember that love is a serious adventure that demands cooperation and commitment between two people. Now, this is extremely important during this time period because there is an opposition between Venus, which represents the lower love nature, the earthly love nature, and Neptune, which represents the spiritual or higher love nature. Now, this opposition can shatter illusions because love is full of illusions. Romance is full of illusions. We think that we have fallen in love. We see things through rose-colored glasses. So you have to be a little bit careful. However, upon saying that, this is helped out because Venus is trine both Pluto and Saturn. And this comes into the 5th house of romance. So that's a very good place to have that trine. Now, Pluto in the 5th house can bring very important changes to the way that you seek out pleasure and you seek out enjoyment. And you have to ask yourself if you have in your life what brings you pleasure, what brings you enjoyment. So this trine from Venus can show you what you may need in that area to make things better for you. It might also give you a better sense of self and a knowledge that you can express yourself in a very hypnotic and very gentle way, which other people may find very appealing. So Venus helps you become more appealing when it's in the 1st house. So go out there and inspire some other people. There's also, because there's a green light for love and pleasure. Now there's also the trine to Saturn. And Saturn is a stabilizing influence. And Saturn trine Venus is much less aggressive than, when you're talking about Mars and Pluto. So Saturn helps stabilize things. He takes some aggression away from the pursuit of pleasure. But you still need to know what you want and you need to focus on it. And the same is true because the 5th house rules creativity. The same is true in creative endeavors. The card at the beginning of the 4th week, October 25th through 31st, is the 4 of Swords. Now, this is an energy, if you look at it, of rest and recuperation. Now, thinking of all the energies that have been around during the month of October, we all very well might need a little rest and recuperation. So much has gone on in this transitional month, and this will help you gather your forces together, and you might want to take some quiet time or some time in solitude, because this is a welcome helping time or healing time, because there is another jolt that will be coming along in the near future. It's a combination of the full moon and the planet Uranus. Now, that's a very heavy duty and intense aspect, which brings an awful lot of energy to the fore, and it can mean that there's a lot of change and a lot of opportunity. So the Wheel of Fortune is the card that will be used because it's appropriate because of all the change energy that is in the air. So when the full moon, you see the moon travels around and the moon is with Uranus, be in opposition to the sun. When this falls in the ninth house, it means the sun is in your third house of the intellect, and this is the house of the higher mind or understanding. So there may be some conflicts between your ideas and the beliefs of others. So you need to keep an open mind so that communication keeps on flowing. You don't want to just shut things down. Inflexibility guarantees conflict. So keep the communications going. Think twice before making judgments if they are just based on emotions. Remember, it's a full moon time. The same might be true about travel. Know where you're going, know what you're trying to achieve, and understand that impulsiveness can be very exciting, but if you have a plan, you're more likely to find success. Hi, I'm Reverend Tom Kearns. Welcome to 333 Magic 9, where the tarot cards and the stars work together to bring you insights of a cosmic nature for your life. Please take a moment to subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications so you'll know when new videos are put up. FYI, I am using a 0-degree equal house chart, so the small numbers in the center of the circle may not match, but the interpretations are correct. I am doing this to conserve paper due to the many forests that are being destroyed by fire. Now, let us take a closer look at your cards and stars.